Tonight on Ramblers Unleashed, will Dizzy's podcast voice shine through? You know it will. Will J-Bone finally find his way back to the table and his microphone, which is less than 2 feet away from his face? Where in the world is the Baron? And what will Max Mages have to say about a nobody calling him a loser? Find out tonight on Ramblers Unleashed.
Warning. This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion advised.
The wrestling podcast that sets all other podcasts apart. Covering news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. Your favorite weekly episodic podcast, Ramblers Unleashed, starts now.
Yeah, it's your Tuesday night delight. Here we go. It's Ramblers Unleashed on the air right after NXT. And boy, what a day it's been and what a week it's been for wrestling. And I got to tell you, man, we have some pretty big news. Before we get to the intros, J-Bone, you actually have some breaking news that is very important to all of us. So J-Bone, I know you're muted, so just make sure that you're off mute. And you're going to break
the little
this
microphone button right there. Click
Shut
that.
up, Max. Shut up. I'm like I'm doing production stuff behind the scenes. Shut up, Max.
He's the producer. He's got things to do before we go on the air. So give him a little bit of time. Yeah, but this is actually huge news. So J-Bone, please give it to us, man, because we're ready for it. We've been waiting for it all day.
Okay. All right, so I'm not going to read all this, but I'm going to read some, majority of the important parts of this. All right, so as you guys saw on the cover of the video, this is just when you thought wrestling couldn't get any crazier this year, guys. Check this out. Just a few weeks before WWE's WrestleMania 41 premium live event, Vincent Kennedy McMahon has shook up the wrestling world with his groundbreaking announcement. He is back in the sports entertainment business, and he is the new owner of TNA. Yeah.
Right. That is huge news. And I gotta say that there's even bigger news regarding all of this, and it's this on 3. 1, 2, 3. April Fools!
April Fools!
No, Vinnie Mac did not buy TNA. Thank God.
Listen, Mir, don't get ahead of us.
Yeah, Mir.
Let us have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, Mir. God.
It's our show. Let us do
Mir,
it.
Mir, I think you're like the guy that poops at parties, dude. Are you? Don't be the guy that poops at parties, man.
He walks in, gets a drink. Hey, by the way, where's your bathroom? Oh,
right. Exactly. Yeah. Let's see. Courtney has already pointed out that there's no Baron. That's because he's on assignment. Baron's actually flown to TKO headquarters to ask why Liv Morgan doesn't have a title shot at Mania. And the keyword there, Max, is ask.
Ask.
And I believe he's going to ask with a steel chair. Is that right?
What I've heard is that he will be asking by high-fiving them in the face repeatedly with the steel chair until they agree to put her in the main event.
Well, I feel bad for the people, like not the security. Like security, I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about the 5'2" little girl behind the front desk that just answers telephones and has to look cute and hi, welcome to World Wrestling Entertainment. Catches a chair right. Can't even finish her opening line to to the
What kind of heathen do you think?
Yeah,
Baron is?
I don't see.
And you're supposed to be his best friend.
I don't see the Baron going up and just slapping everybody with a steel chair. I think he's only going to talk to those that are involved with the decision making behind Liv Morgan not getting a title shot at Mania.
And possibly security as he runs.
But I
them.
envision it being comical, kind of like when Shawn Michaels started to lose his mind before he exited WWE. Before he retired. And he turned around and saw this guy with a headset. And
what's your name? John checking. Yeah, I know,
yeah.
but Baron is not like that. J-Bone. Baron is you got to remember, man, Baron likes he is the level-headed one out of all of us.
I know, but majority of the time, I believe he lives a pretty even keel, level-headed lifestyle.
He's the high one.
He is, but I'm just saying, if
you know what his catchphrase is, J-Bone?
$9.99.
No, it's $4.20.
Oh, okay.
Because I got high. Oh, sorry.
But if he's on a road trip and he drives all the way down to Florida from where does he live? St. Louis?
Yeah.
St. Louis-ish,
yeah.
Around there. That I mean, he can't just wake and bake before he walks in there, man.
You don't know the Baron. How long have you been doing this show with us, and you don't know the Baron just wakes and bakes, man? Who are you? My God.
I'm saying if he drives overnight and arrives in the morning, he's not going to have the opportunity to.
Are you pulling an April Fool's joke on us?
Real quick clarification. We said he went to headquarters, not to Full Sail University. Headquarters is technically part of TKO, which is in Stanford, not in Florida. So I'm just going to chalk that up to old age, and you forgot. This part of the show is not an April Fool's. I really am making fun of him for his age. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh.
What? You mean they didn't move to Florida next to NXT?
No, because Liv Morgan's not an NXT, dude.
I thought
he's got to go to the top. He doesn't have to go after Sean, who won't see him coming because his eyes are like this. He's got to go to the top of the food chain.
Who did I just see on NXT tonight? That was Roxanne Perez. I get her and Liv Morgan confused all the time because they're both like 4'0" and cute,
How do you get those
two?
What?
Hold on. One of them is blonde, and one of them has black hair.
What?
That would be like me confusing you with Martin Luther King or something.
Well, I have had dreams.
Yes, and we're not discussing them here. That's for a different show. That's a show we used to have called Ramblers After Dark. We're not doing that anymore. My wife
just walked past. She goes, "Yeah, about your hose."
Oh, my God. All right, let's get back on track. Matt Foley, back on track. Let's go ahead and introduce my best friend over here. That is a neighborhood heel, a man with more wrestling knowledge in his pinky finger than Tony Khan and apparently J-Bone. And the only guy that I know that pops bigger for Joel Gertner than any of us, you, J-Bone, can address him as Mr. Magus. But we, as in myself and our wonderful audience, can address him as the mighty Maximus Magus. Golfers clap, sir. How are you this?
Well, before I answer your question, I just want to say something. Fuck the Hulk Hogan. I'm sorry. I'm really feeling the Iron Sheik tonight, so fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Oh, my God.
Was your nickname in high school? What?
Yes, his nickname in high school may have been 4'0". But
no, actually, my
name is Coke Bottles.
No, it was actually my nickname in high school was Heffa, because my last name is Hafer.
Heffa.
But, Hafer's not cool, so they called me Heffa. Yeah.
You know what Bubba's nickname was in high school? You know what they used to call him?
What's that?
Big Worm.
Big Worm?
Why?
Wasn't there a big worm in that one, what was that, Friday movie?
I don't know. Probably.
Big word.
I don't know.
You know what they used to call me in high school?
What's that?
Mr. Mages, we don't want to offend you. Please answer our question.
Exactly. And J-Bone, remember that. That is what you can refer to him as, Mr. Mages.
Mr. Maximus.
Mr. Mages. Just Mr. Mages.
Or if you're feeling really
It says
groggy, you can call me the Marvelous One.
Yeah, there you go. That's even better.
the Marvelous Maximus Mages. My name is Marvelous Maximus Mages. My name is Jeff.
I don't know what's wrong with him, man.
I'm thinking he took an edible before the show.
I think so. My God.
No, it's called too much cold medicine over the course of this last week. I was down and out.
So it wasn't edible before the show.
It wasn't edible. That's what I wonder if that's one that Baron sent him.
Oh man, it's freaking cough drops, man.
We'll go from the desk of Max Mages soon because this one is a doozy. And speaking of Hulk Hogan, we have plenty of Hulk Hogan drama coming up. But last but not least, let's introduce the producer of our show. My God, that sound. And Max, I lost my spot. Thanks, dude. The producer,
last but not least, which is incorrect, the producer of our show,
the man, the myth, the legend, the forgetty guy, without his tech wizardry and the gizmos that he has and all the shit that he does and the vast knowledge of wrestling that he knows, plus his misses, which, by the way, we're still waiting for you to make sure that you take care of that thing for Max and I, what we mailed you. Yeah. Chair.
What?
You got it. He is the host of not only Smash's podcast, but also Total Nonstop Impact with the latest TNA reviews on YouTube over any other podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, he is J-Bone. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm finally feeling like my old self.
Good deal. By the way, your nonstop analysis is coming up later on in the show, and we also have AEW to talk about because this Sunday is Dynasty. Who's going to watch Dynasty? Are you guys going to watch it?
Oh, dude, I've got that record somewhere around here. When did the Kiss Dynasty come out? That was 70, 80 something. What was that?
We're talking wrestling. We're not talking rock and roll, bud.
Right?
Wasn't that an 80s TV show?
Is what?
Oh, like Dallas. Yeah. Is that what we're going to...
No, Falcon Crest.
Dude, are we reviewing the old 80s show Dynasty? Dude, that's badass.
No, we're previewing. Previewing.
Good night, guys. We're apparently fucking confused here.
Who shot JR? Oh, wait, that's Dallas.
Hold on. I can tell you who shot JR, but it's a $50 fee. Now, before we go any further, I want to point something out, and then I got to rectify what was said.
Ooh,
first off, do you know why we put the TNA analysis at the end of the show? It's because that's the only way we make sure J-Bone stays awake for the entire show. That's a true fact. That's nothing related to April Fools. That's a true story. Now, last but not least, listen, you can't listen to my best friend when he's doing introductions because he always tries to weasel his way out of this. Not like Bobby the Brain Heenan. That was the weasel. He's trying to get out of this. But before I get to that, ladies and gentlemen, the 5th member of Ramblers Unleashed, the audience. Without you guys, we'd just be a bunch of guys sitting here talking to each other on cam, and look at our faces. We don't want to talk to each other on cam.
And look at how the show has gone so far tonight. Yeah.
Now,
you're welcome.
So that I can get us back on track.
Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, my best friend, the man that puts the stories together, the man without whom there would be no Ramblers. We'd just be, and let me clarify, they're great shows, but we wouldn't have an identity on them. We would just be co-hosts on something like TNI or Destroying Kayfabe. So without Dizzy, we wouldn't be Ramblers. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. give a warm welcome to the man with the podcasting voice that just sings, my best friend, Dizzy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was wonderful, Max. Thank you, buddy. As always, you always knock it out of the park with your intros for me. I don't want but the thing is, like, I don't want all the glory. I do this for our fans. I do this for the people who watch, and we all do this for the people that watch. And I just want to bring the best content that I can to YouTube for all of us to bring I know that we all want to bring the best content that we can for our fans, which, by the way, if you like what you're watching, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That tells YouTube that you like what we're doing and shoots our videos off to other folks so that they can check it out too.
Listen, there's one other step that you can take. There is a little button down there that says the word share.
Oh, yeah.
If you think you have friends that might be interested in seeing what we're talking about, please click that share button and send them the video. Let them see what this is all about and help us grow our audience, because that is why we're here, is for you guys. We don't want the accolades or the fame. We're here to tell you about wrestling.
Yep, and all the backstage news that we can find. And I you know what I say, guys? Let's go ahead and start this off. Let's talk about this main event at Mania, this triple threat, yes. And we're also going to lead up to Cena and Cody. Man, what a promo that was on Monday Night Raw. But who's excited for this triple threat? They've been building this up beautifully, man.
All right,
yeah, that's one of the main points I wanted to talk about today, because that was pretty shocking last Friday. You know, you got 3 massive egos in the ring, and
4. Heyman was there too.
Well, yeah, he's there because of 2 others mainly in support of, it's London. It's a crazy ruckus crowd. Roman's doing his, he's got to fluff up his ego a little bit in London. Seth comes out. He's talking some smack. And then out comes Punk. And they've all signed the contract at this point. Punk sits down, and he's thumbing through it. And Roman's like, what? You need, here's the joke about me. You need some glasses. You need, what's the matter here? And he finally sends the wise man, Paul Heyman, his direction, say, hey, would you smarten him up, help him get this, get this along here? So he kneels down next to Punk with the microphone. He goes, I know what you're looking for, and it's in there. Punk doesn't say a word. There's a moment of silence, and the crowd is like, oh, what's in there? And he's like, you get to live out your boyhood dream and headline WrestleMania this year. You, my friend, are a WrestleMania headliner. And he kisses him, and Punk starts getting a little choked up. And I'm like, okay, so I'm happy about it. Don't get me wrong. But there's other stuff going on in the company that on paper should supersede this.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question to you guys and our audience out there. Are you just excited about the triple threat main eventing whatever night it's going to be, night 2, night one, whatever it is? Are you guys excited about it and you don't care about other stuff? Or are you in the mind frame of, hey, what the heck happened? Why isn't Charlotte and or Jey Uso headlining with their matches at least one of the nights?
I think this match, the triple threat, and then of course Cena and Cody have overshadowed every other match on the WrestleMania card for both nights. And it's as cool as it is that we're getting this, it would be better if they would highlight and kind of just tell us the story of the other matches too, because when we watch WrestleMania, we're going to know the story of the triple threat and Cody and Cena. We're not necessarily going to know the story behind every other match at Mania. And it's going to be confusing. It's going to kind of feel like an AEW pay-per-view because we don't know the stories behind most of the matches at AEW. And I just wish that they would do a little bit better of a job of telling the stories like Charlotte Flair versus, Tiffany Stratton. And they've done they've done a few promos here and there, but nothing compared to the triple threat or between Cody and Cena. Max, I know you were going to talk.
All right. Under any other circumstances, I would find this to be an amazing on paper match. This looks fun. 3 great, talented wrestlers in this match.
Sure.
Now, my first complaint is you had enough confidence to let them win the Rumble. And this isn't the first time Rumble winners didn't get the main event. I understand that. But this was the first time I got really excited for being shocked by the outcome of the Men's Royal Rumble. And I really thought that they were going to put this forth and have it be a great main event on one of the nights. And barring that, Charlotte should be a main event on one of the nights, but I kind of understand that one. You don't have as much confidence in Tiffany as you'd like, so she's on the card, but she's not main event. Fine. Jay and Gunther can carry that main event spot. And that's my personal opinion. One of the 2 Rumble winners should have a main event night 1 or night 2. But here's my other thing. As much as I think this is going to be a great match, I don't think this is the match we should be having. We have a story here that has built for a very long time. It goes way back to when the Authority was still running things for WWE. When Seth turned on his Shield brethren and joined the Authority. So you have a Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns story to resolve, and you add in the fact that Rollins has real life heat with Punk, so let's get them in a match to tell that story. We could have done that any other time. This match should be Roman versus Seth so we can get our resolution for the Shield breakup. Something that they have built for years. They have done a very good job of keeping these 2 separated on separate shows since it happened.
For the most part, yeah, absolutely. Continue. I'm sorry.
So that's the story I was expecting us to go with. And to be honest with you, it's a main event worthy match. Don't get me wrong. Even if you just went with Roman Seth to finish their story, that doesn't mean it should be. And I really think that I'll get to what Mir said in just a second. And I really think that this match is amazing. I think it's going to be a hell of a match between 3 talented wrestlers, but I wouldn't have put it main event. And just for the record, Mir, that was partially because I believe it was Brock had to fly out and be somewhere else that same night. So he had to open the show so he could get to the airport on time to fly out.
Scully wanted to go home to Canada.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It's going to be it's going to be probably one of the weirdest Manias because, we haven't seen all the stories being built like previous WrestleManias have been. So I'm interested in how the format of this show is going to be and how everything is going to look once it's said and done. And you can bet that we are going to be here right here predicting it and reviewing WrestleMania because this is one of the biggest shows that of the year. And I'm excited to see what the outcome is going to be, honestly.
Yeah. The only one that might be a little tough is the night of night 2 because it's on Easter, and I don't know what our plans are for Easter.
Sure.
So
yeah, we'll figure it out.
I don't want to assume anything yet, but we will be talking about it.
Stalk our social medias. at the Ramblers Pod on X and Ramblers Unleashed on Facebook, because we'll put it out there when we'll go live and review everything.
Be careful how you say that, Diz.
I want to do things a little differently for WrestleMania. We like to sit here and give you our predictions, and you guys tell us what you think of the matches sometimes too. I want to do something different for WrestleMania this year.
Okay.
I want you all, when as we get closer, I want you all to, at Max Mages, tweet me your predictions, and I'm going to put you on our picks list, and we're going to see who has the best record out of our fans and us.
Ooh, I like that. That's awesome. I dig that. So make sure you go to at Max Mages on X when it comes time for WrestleMania, both night 1 and night 2. Send him your predictions. Your predictions could land right here on the show with ours.
There we go.
So, very, very cool. Let's get into some wrestling news. And we started off with the March 24th episode of Monday Night Raw. Delivered another strong performance on Netflix, continuing its momentum at WrestleMania 41 as it draws near. Now, according to Netflix's latest data, the episode scored 3 million global views, placing it number 4 on the global top 10 for the week and appearing in the top 10 in 22 countries. While viewership dipped slightly from the March 17th episode, which pulled 3.1 million views, Raw still remains one of the top performing weekly shows on the platform, especially in the sports entertainment category. So with Raw ranking number 4 globally and appearing in the top 10 in 22 countries, the show's appeal is at a peak as fans worldwide gear up for WrestleMania 41. And the numbers confirm that Raw continues to be one of the most watched weekly shows on Netflix's platform, which is fantastic news. Really, really happy for WWE being this partnership with Netflix has really helped them greatly. There has been a lot of drama going on the old World Wide Webs, and it's weird because we were talking about, I sent this to the guys, and Max actually said that he believes Linda Hogan. So here's what's going on. Former WWE or WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan always manages to get involved in controversy one way or the other. And it's a known fact that he and his ex-wife, Linda Hogan, are not on good terms at all. And unsurprisingly, Linda has now accused her ex-husband of ruining their family in a fiery rant. So she took to her Instagram and criticized Hulkster as she talked about her struggles after her marriage to Hulk. She said that she often feels alone. She's been crying, which made her look, terrible. People cry, they look bad. But she also mentioned that she recently got Botox and it left her with bruises. Here's what she said, and I quote, "I am by myself today, again, as usual. I'm okay with most things, but today something hit. I don't know what hit, but I look terrible because I've been crying. And yesterday I went to try to go have Botox and shit, and they bruised me like I don't know," end quote. Linda Hogan talked about how her family is in a bit of a bad place, revealing that her daughter Brooke got married, had twins, but never told her. And Brooke also had a big fight with Hulk Hogan and for some reason cut Linda out of her life too. So they haven't spoken in almost 8 years. However, she still has a good relationship with her son, Nick. Linda called Hulk Hogan a liar and a sex addict, saying that he hides the truth while acting like a hero in public. She criticized him for focusing on promoting his beer brand while ignoring the problems in their family. Hogan even admitted that after 20 years, she still feels sad and doesn't understand why it hasn't gotten better. And she has given the Hall of Famer many opportunities to come back and fix her family despite everything. She enjoys living alone and has no interest in getting married again. Now, with all that said, Brooke Hogan isn't backing down from this. And after dropping a lengthy and emotional revelation about the years of dysfunction and abuse endured within her famous wrestling family, the daughter of Hulkster returned with a sharp follow-up statement to Linda, making one thing very clear, that she's done staying silent. In her latest post, Brooke addressed her mother directly, clarifying that Linda's recent claims simply don't line up with reality. Here's what Brooke said, and I quote, "First of all, it appears my mother may not have actually read what I wrote. She absolutely did make false claims like she had never met my husband and doesn't even know what his name is. Then she deleted it." End quote. Brooke added that despite Linda claiming that they haven't spoken in years, she has photographic proof of them together on a day that we did lunch together with her husband. Brooke, while Brooke insists that she never wanted to speak publicly, she says being dragged into the constant drama of the family forced her to respond. And she also emphasized that her original post didn't name names, but Linda's defensive response only clarified guilt to those paying attention. And to top it all off, Brooke's husband absolutely unloaded. And Steven Olski, a former pro hockey player and Brooke's husband, has officially entered this chat. So on March 29th, Olski took to Instagram with a lengthy and emotional message defending Brooke from what he described as a vicious attacks, clearly directed at Linda, though he never names her directly, referring her to her only as Jane Doe. Olski took aim at Linda's recent accusations, including the one she claimed Brooke once got so drunk she broke her collarbone. Olski called that story laughable, adding that while Brooke occasionally enjoys a cocktail, she has never had a drinking problem. And he didn't stop there. Olski also responded to the criticism over their decision to marry privately, saying it wasn't about secrecy, it was about not having a choice. Here's what he said, and I quote, "Another party involved stated, 'I don't do weddings or funerals anymore.'" End quote. That line appears to be aimed at Hulk Hogan, especially since Olski pointed out that same person, quote, "has had a wedding of their own since," end quote, referencing the Hulk's marriage to Sky Daly in 23. So he continued by sharing a story about that same individual claiming they don't do concerts, only to later be spotted at several concerts, including a Stevie Nicks show he and Brooke had invited them to attend. Throughout the post, Olski made it clear that Brooke has built her life on her own terms, despite the public mess surrounding her family. He praised her strength and growth and even added the post with a heartwarming photo of their kids, emphasizing the family they're building far away from the chaos. What is with all this fucking drama? And we still haven't even heard from Hulk. I wonder what he's thinking, if he's even thinking at all, Max.
Oh, brother, let me tell you something. Bubba the Love Sponge wife was the greatest. That's probably what he's thinking right now.
Probably.
Listen, here's the thing. I think the receipts from Brooke speak for themselves, but I do think Brooke did have a drinking problem. Come on, she agreed to marry Bubba Ray on TNA as part of the story. So there had to be something going on there. As far as the accusations about Hulk Hogan go, we know enough about Hogan to know that this is probably true. As I started this off, Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. Come on.
Yeah.
How do you do that to your best friend, but then let your daughter? I mean, to be fair, Brooke didn't actually defend Hogan. She defended herself and corrected the mistakes made about herself and her husband. I didn't hear anything in her rebuttal that even touched on saying that Hogan's not really the skeeve that his ex-wife accused him of being. And really, if you look at his marriage history, Hogan clearly has a type. And if you look at his second wife, at one time she kind of looked a little bit like Brooke. Doesn't that make you a little about Hogan? Come on. Oh, that's Linda right there.
That's Linda, but I wanted to point that these bruises right here, those are from Botox. I mean,
Are you sure that looks because I see a lot of pictures of people on meth and they have sores all over that look exactly like that.
I don't know. Look, we can't clarify what those are. We're just going off of what Linda said. I don't want to. Let's strike that from the record right now because I don't know.
I will say this: we watched the video, and she says it's a bruise from Botox. So I'm going to take her at her word.
And that's what she posted on. That's what I just said, that it was a bruise from Botox.
And if that's what it truly is, oh, poor Linda. And let's just remind the people out there that she took over 70% of all of Hulk Hogan's assets in the divorce. So if we're supposed to feel sorry for her that she's alone now and she's still a multi-millionaire, unless she pissed it all away on stuff like Botox and other things, trying to relive her youth, I mean, I really don't feel bad for her. And Hulk Hogan probably staying silent is probably like, screw her. You know, like I've heard that crap for years. I've heard that bitch whine for years. I'm not going to give her any leeway in this. So I'm actually going to take Hulk Hogan's silent and Brooks' side in a sense, you know.
Do you guys remember Missy Beefcake?
Oh, Beefcake's wife.
Yeah, so
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So she's had a lot of problems with Hulk Hogan, but she actually took to Twitter to mock Hulk Hogan and Linda following Linda's rant about her ex-husband and daughter Brooke.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
She expressed her frustration about living in Florida since 2009 and claimed that she'd suffered because of Hulk Hogan's treatment toward her. But Beefcake accused Linda of being indifferent to her feelings and making false statements, including allegations that she stole child support money to buy Louis Vuitton handbags. Here's what she said, and I quote, "I've been living in Florida since 2009, and I've been suffering because Hulk Hogan has been so mean to me, and Linda doesn't care about my feelings. She said terrible things about me. She said I stole child support money so that I could buy Louis Vuitton handbags. Fake cries." But Missy, sarcastically apologized for the appearance, but insisted that she needed to speak the truth. She alleged that Hulk and Linda sabotaged a $1 million deal during the defamation lawsuit, that Hulk's social media posts led to backlash from her fans. Beefcake also labeled Linda Hogan as a fucking fraud and called Hulk Hogan the same, asserting that the only member of the Hogan family who treated her with kindness was Brooke, who never judged her despite hearing negative things. Beefcake then directly accused Linda and called her a effing C word and urged her to stop. She also criticized Hulk Hogan for refusing to make amends with Brutus Beefcake, making it clear that her rejection of him wasn't the issue, but rather his character as a disgusting human being. Missy ended her rant by slamming Linda for receiving $40,000 a month in alimony, questioning what more could she possibly want, and sarcastically asked if she'd expected an award. So Brooke Hogan also exposed years of mental abuse and physical abuse, too, at the hands of Linda and Hogan, of Hulk, with disdain between Missy Beefcake, Hulk Hogan, and Linda Hogan is still going strong, obviously. But with serious claims being made, we're waiting to see if the Hogans will respond to Missy or let the situation die down, because this has just been an absolute shit show as far as the drama with the Hogans. And this is weird, man. Like, it's just odd, but it's opening our eyes. Honestly, it's opening my eyes about Hulk Hogan and what he actually, like, the person that he actually is, you know.
It's what happens when you stop taking coke after decades and your eyes start opening to all the reality, and then everyone's brain starts to melt, and as you get older, and this is what we have to live with. This is what we have to see on a daily basis from these guys. It's hilarious.
Well, and I think, Max, before you say anything, I think that everybody just wants to be back in the limelight, honestly. You
think?
People just
those poor guys. Oh, my Botox. Oh, my. Oh.
Yeah.
I am a terrible person. I do not deny that, but we'll get to that in just a moment. If you will check the messenger, Dizzy, I sent over 2 pictures already. I've got 2 more coming. The first one I sent is Brooke's friend that Hogan married. The second one is Sky Daly. I'm seeing a pattern here.
So let's go with this picture here. So that's Hulk.
Jennifer, Brooke's friend.
That's weird. Look at the hands.
Right? Wait, that's his second wife. He
that is
married
crazy.
Her. They were married from 2010 to 2021.
Wow, that is crazy. And the second picture, Max, did you send that one?
That's his new wife. That's Sky Daly.
Let's pull this one up too. Wow. I'd have to say, I mean, out of the 2 or 3, I'd have to say Sky Daly looks a little better than the others, honestly.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to argue.
I love the fact that she's got the leopard skin top on. It's like it's just screams cougar. I love it.
Oh, totally. Well, I mean, fuck, look how old Hogan is. You know?
So I need to set up the next couple of pictures. These are the reason I'm an asshole. The next picture, you mentioned Missy Beefcake, so I did a search. I wanted to see how she's looking these days, and I came across something unexpected. So the next picture that I sent is actually not technically wrestling related, but you'll understand once I send the 4th picture. This picture is a Zygon from
Go ahead and send it.
No, it's the Zygon's in the messenger chat. I'm about to send over the last
I don't
picture.
see it. The Zygon. I've got pictures of the first 2 pictures that I showed.
Oh, I've got it. Hang on.
You see it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, pull it up.
Jeez Louise.
I know you're laughing now, but wait a second. And now, here's a picture of Missy and Brutus now, or recently.
All right, here we go. What the hell is that, J-Bone?
Hang on.
What the fuck? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Brutus looks rough, man.
He looks a lot like that Zygon I saw over. It's weird. It's an uncanny resemblance. They don't have to put any makeup on him. He could be in the next Doctor Who special.
Well, we'll have to keep our eyes on this situation. It's a bit of a weird situation, but we're going to keep our eyes on it and see if anything else develops. Have you guys been watching Legends and Future Greats on A&E?
I haven't, but I've heard nothing but positive about it.
A lot of positive stuff for this show, except for this story. And of course, one of the coaches is Mickie James on the show, and she's had some pretty strong opinions about how women should be seen in wrestling. So on the March 30th episode of WWE LFG, she criticized one of the competitors for wearing jazzed up lingerie. And unsurprisingly, James has come under fire for hypocrisy for her marks. So the competitor, her name is Zena Sterling. And after her match, Mickie James praised her outfit and recalled fighting to move away from revealing gear during the Diva era. She then shared her frustration, saying it's hard to take female wrestlers seriously when their outfits are too distracting, as all you could see was their bodies. She just thought that if women wanted to be taken seriously as wrestlers, they shouldn't wear outfits that look like jazzed up lingerie. And I quote, here's what she said. "I like your new gear. I lived during the Diva era, and we fought very, very hard not to have to wrestle in lingerie anymore. Because I am a female, I can speak on this. It's very frustrating when women go out there and wrestle and all I can see is their ass. I can't look past that. It's all I see. It's very distracting. You want to be taken seriously as a wrestler, but you are pretty much rustling in jazzed up lingerie, and that's my opinion. And that's coming from someone who had their ass on TV a lot. Now, quite a few fans took to social media after what Mickey said, and they called her out on this. A fan on Twitter, now known as X, stated that Mickey James once made a V sign gesture at Wrestlemania, pointing out to her hypocrisy, saying, quote, "This coming from a woman who did a V sign at WrestleMania, by the way." Another fan called Mickey James a hypocrite, reminding her that she once kissed a woman on TV for Vince McMahon, saying, quote, "But you tongued a woman on television for Papa Vince. Ha, the hypocrisy of it all," end quote. That's not all, though.
Ooh.
Another fan criticized Mickey, saying that if she focused on the wrestling instead of appearances, she would see that these women are talented. They also felt embarrassed that she embarrassed herself with these comments. Another fan called Mickey James weird for her comments and accused her of being a subtle misogynist, even as a woman, saying, quote, "At Mickey James, you're kind of weird for this and a subtle misogynist, even if you're a woman yourself," end quote. Another fan questioned Mickey's comments, reminding her she had a revealing outfit that she used to wear. They argued that wrestlers should be free to choose their own gear, saying, quote, "All right, respectively, does Mickey James not remember the little effing skirts with a strip of fabric for underwear she used to wear? Come on, bruh. Let them wrestle in the gear they want," end quote. And another fan accused Mickey of being bitter and unfairly critical, pointing out that most wrestlers wear revealing gear. They also call her a hypocrite, referencing past moments in her career. And it really didn't stop there, as another fan criticized Mickey James, calling her comments hypocritical and claiming that sex appeal has always been her main appeal, saying that's rich, trashing sex appeal when that's all she's ever had, to be honest, end quote. This is kind of interesting because we all grew up in the Mickey James era, but
The
we all
era.
yes, but a lot of, do you think, Max, do you think that was all what Mickey was wearing out to the ring? Do you think that had anything to do with what Vince wanted?
Oh yeah, I mean Vince was the boss, and I do believe that at the time, if you wanted your job, you did what Vince said, whether it be the outfits that he recommended. Now I guarantee you, they had a little bit of leeway and were able to get their outfits, but they had to be certain cut, certain look. You know, they had to be sex sells, and he had to approve whatever they were wearing to the ring. And this is what she fought. She fought that even while she was there, but she did what she was told so she could keep her job. And listen, you may think that these pro wrestlers are set, and some of them aren't. We won't get into Triple H's salary, even back when he was still an active wrestler. But the fact is, some of these people, especially the female wrestlers, were paid less back then, and their expenses for traveling were expensive. So you may not have much saved up. And if you lose your job, who knows when you're going to get another contract. So you do what you're told. You don't play the politics. You don't rock the boat too much. But the women, they did fight in every way that they could to make these changes. The problem is that they're still choosing the skimpier outfits. That you can't expect them to go away from what's going to sell. Why do the fans watch the shows? Because people that don't wear pants are fighting for a belt. That's why people watch the shows. They don't want to see the outfits they wear to Saudi Arabia. They don't. Nobody wants to see that, except Saudi Arabia, and they're a little weird anyway. So let's not even go there.
I remember the protesters that I used to see in downtown Milwaukee outside the old Bradley Center, which is now the Pfizer Forum that got built next door. But me and my friend would be out there waiting for the show to start. We'd be sitting out there having a cigarette, and the protesters are screaming at us, saying that we were. This is back when Triple H was active, and I think it was like middle 2000s, just to put a time frame on it. These guys are screaming at us that we worship Triple H in his underwear. So what did we come back with? We love puppies. We love puppies.
So
They practically dropped their signs. It was so much fun to fuck with them.
So J-Bone, with that being said, do you think it's fair that the fans are calling Mickie James a hypocrite?
I can see both sides of it. Let's start with what Mickie James was trying to give her some constructive criticism. Okay, she's a coach. That's what she's there for. And I can understand from a person my age and what I like to view on TV. I can completely see that point of view from being a coach and being a more mature fan in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of time. Look, don't get me wrong. I love NXT. The talent on there is through the roof, and it's very exciting to see this next generation of wrestlers, men and women alike. But we're talking about the women right now. So, there's a lot of times when I'm watching it and I'm like, now I'm not going to say it's every girl in the locker room, but there are plenty of times I'm looking and almost every single girl out there has some kind of like fishnet thing on with a skirt that goes halfway up the rear end or something that goes halfway up the rear end. And I'm like, they all look like this. I'm like, or almost all of them look like this. And I'm like, why do they all look like hookers that just all came out of high school and they still look like this 5 years after high school? I don't like it. I can appreciate like a couple girls having a certain look like they're like who was the two girls from the shut up, Styles. Naughty. No, but like the beautiful people, you know, the two from the TNA, you know, so they're like that and they're kind of slutty and they're like, ooh, look at my rear end, you know. But they were like the only ones on the roster that were like that. The rest of them all had their own gimmick. Mickie James did her thing. Lisa, or I can't think of her name. Lisa Verone, she was called a bunch of different things, had her own thing going on. Awesome Kong, Gail Kim, they all had their own look and their own thing. But it's like, I don't understand why all these girls gotta like look like, you know, a teenage hooker. I don't get it. I don't like it. You know, have a couple have a certain like sexy look. But when you all come out looking like the same, like Roxanne Perez just came out tonight and she's got the fishnets on again. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
And
what are we selling?
And we all know how dangerous it is to wear fishnets to the ring, as Max has always pointed that out. Super
safety first.
Yeah, especially if you have piercings and things like that.
Yeah, well, here's the smart thing. Maybe don't wear piercings to the ring. But yeah, I can see both sides of that too. But it's like, come on. You know, it's like, all right, CM Punk, take the nose ring out. You don't want to get that stuck in some guys.
You still want to look good
stockings,
for your match. You got, you know, the eyebrow piercing, the septum. You want to look good for your match, all right?
I'm trying to think. Who was that guy? While
old man J-Bone is thinking about that, yeah, Amir, it's like a tough enough 2.0, but it's really good because there's a lot of talent on LFG, man. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, and it's kind of cool to see all the coaches compete against each other. Which, might I add, as far as I know, Bubba Ray has not scored one single fucking point.
Oof.
One single fucking point.
Oof.
And it's interesting to see how these wrestlers are training these newcomers, and and their idea behind of what they want these guys to become, and I believe it. I think Booker T is leading.
Okay? So the guy I was trying to think of that like changed his look when he got the TNA, because he was very provocative. But it was the guy that was JBL's assistant. Was a black guy, and he had kind of like spiked up hair. And then he came to TNA and he wore caution tape all over himself and spread like lotion all over himself. And
it was shit. I just got his name.
Wasn't it Orlando something?
It's Orlando. Yeah, it's Orlando Jordan.
Orlando Jordan. Yeah.
Called him his chief of staff.
Oh, he was on the staff, all right.
Anyway,
look, and I don't care about his sexual preference. I'm just saying the guy. And those were in better days. It was like, how did we go from this to the caution tape? And by the way, Naomi does the caution tape much better. I'm just saying.
I think Owen did it much better.
Anyway, we're kind of going off the rails here. But if you watch LFG, let us know what you think of it in the chat. Let's talk about Justin Credible. This guy is in the news, and it's not good. If you follow Maven on YouTube, he's got his own YouTube channel, and he kind of breaks the barrier of professional wrestling, talking about his time spent in WWE, and fans ask him questions, and he goes and he answers some of those questions. Well, Maven Huffman is kind of pulling back the curtain on his relationship with Justin Credible now, and it's not looking good. In a new video on his YouTube channel, Maven addressed the long-standing allegations surrounding Credible, who rose to fame in ECW and later wrestled for WWE. Now, over the last decade, fans and promoters have accused a 51-year-old of no-showing bookings, lying about appearances, and even scamming fans out of money. Initially, Maven gave his former coworker the benefit of the doubt, saying, quote, "I left excited at a new opportunity and hopeful for the future for Justin Credible." Maven said after interviewing Justin Credible for his channel, but that optimism didn't last, and I quote, "Sadly, I've recently received information from a source that I trust, indicating that Justin has not changed and leading me to believe that there may have been more truth to the allegations than Justin let on," end quote. He also said, "This source informed me that Justin has already been a no-show on several commitments he was scheduled for, and even asked to borrow money with no signs of repayment, followed by a litany of other excuses," end quote. Now, it seems that Justin's pro wrestling career is taking a hit because of this. And for those of you that don't know, Justin Credible, he's an ECW legend, had a short-lived faction with X-Pac and Albert called the X Factor. And there's a personal story behind this with me, because there's a buddy of mine that I know, that I'm not going to name his name, but he's had issues with Justin, calling him a scumbag. And this is one dude that you really don't want to meet in a dark alley. So I know for a fact that this heat is absolutely real. And I kind of want to ask Max about this. Have you ever had a talent no-show you or do the things that Justin Credible is doing? Have you had any interactions with Justin Credible? Because I know you've been in the wrestling industry for some time. Have you had anything happen like this to you, man?
Fortunately, everybody we worked with over the years that I was involved with was extremely professional. They showed up to their bookings that they scheduled with us, and if they couldn't, they let us know ahead of time, and they refunded any money that we had already given them. Even Teddy Hart was big in wrestling news for a while because of how disrespectful he could be in the ring. That guy came here and did a show for one of the companies I worked for and actually apologized and said that he was sorry for being that person, That night he wanted to prove that he truly could be a professional, and he took on D.H. Smith that night at our show, and it was a hell of a match. It was a good job. They sold appropriately. As far as Just Incredible goes, the only source I've heard so far, besides you saying that someone you know has corroborated this, has been Maven. And while I have a lot of trust in Maven, until the companies themselves come out and make some kind of comment about how they're not working with Just Incredible, I'm going to reserve judgment. The thing about the reason for that is I've had it's not that I met him. I was in the same hotel as him. I was at a party that he was at. It was an ECW party. It was after a show that I had worked in Ohio for an indie fed out there. And the guy seemed to love wrestling. I mean, come on, you forgot his most famous role. He was the Portuguese Man of War. And anybody who's willing to wrestle as Aldo Montoya, the Portuguese Man of War, has to love this business. Come on.
Yeah. That's right. He was in WWF before ECW.
So for him to be doing this now, no showing and keeping the money and running away with it, I want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, and I hope that there is a good reason if it's true. I really, really do.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
I know he's had trouble with drugs and other issues in the past, and I know there was some kind of documentary about his struggles. I never saw it, but I saw the trailer for it. It's just to sum it up, sounds like the guy needs some love from DDP maybe.
Hey Justin, if that's what's going on, if we have backtracked on the progress that was made, feel free to reach out. You can reach out to one of us, reach out to DDP, reach out to somebody, please.
Yeah, get the help that you need, buddy. I know, wrestling is one of those things that it can either do a whole lot of good for you, or it can take a really, really big toll on you mentally and physically too. And, we just want to make sure that everybody is mentally healthy as well as physically healthy if they've been in the ring. And that's one of the beautiful things about DDP, what he's doing with folks like Jake the Snake Roberts, Lex Luger, and the list goes on and on and on. My hat's off to DDP for doing this. You are a hell of a guy, and I hope one day that I can shake your hand, maybe buy you a beer, because I mean, this is odd. That's just great. But again, Justin, if you see this, please reach out to one of us, man. Reach out to DDP, and if you need help, it's out there for you, brother. Let's end this on some good news, man, because it's been a while.
Can I just say something real quick about Just Incredible?
Go ahead.
I loved his faction with X-Pac back in the day, and they used to have the Uncle Cracker song coming out. That was an interest music. Mm-hmm. Who was the third guy in the group? Was it A-Train?
It was Albert.
Several different names. He now runs NXT, but Albert A-Train, the Hip Hop Hippo,
him,
I love it, man. I love that group. It was short lived, but those three together, it was like someone from DX still keeping the DX thing going because he was cool, and then someone from the Attitude Era was A-Train trying to find his way, and then an ECW legend of Just Incredible. Man, I loved it.
Yeah, it was a very, very short-lived faction, and it's interesting. I have thanks to Max, we have the picture here. But I just hope that Justin gets the help that he needs. You are nobody can ever take this away from you, Justin. You are an absolute legend. You helped build ECW.
Look at this group. That is badass.
To the legacy that it was, and we thank you for your contributions in the ring. But if you need help, man, go get help. Go get the help that you need, buddy. Let's move on because I kind of want to end this on some good news. We have more to go. It's been a while since we've heard anything about Miss Elizabeth, and she's finally getting the hometown love that she deserves. 2 decades after her passing, the First Lady of Wrestling is finally being honored with a new museum exhibit in Frankfort, Kentucky. So on Wednesday, the Capital City Museum announced that they're opening an exhibit dedicated to the late Miss Elizabeth to set to debut on, it's already debuted. It debuted on Monday, March 31st. Simply titled The Lovely Miss Elizabeth. And I absolutely love this. The tribute will showcase her life, career, and lasting legacy in professional wrestling. And I quote, the exhibit will be open for 2 years, the museum confirmed, adding that admission is free and open during standard museum hours, end quote. Now, Miss Elizabeth, she was born in Frankfort, Kentucky, of course, became an icon alongside Randy Savage in both WWE and WCW. If you're looking to take a road trip, the exhibit will run Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's located at 325 Ann Street in downtown Frankfort, and you'll be able to deep dive into her legacy with rare photos, memorabilia, and reflections on her role in shaping wrestling golden age. So that's the question of the day. Are you going to go see Miss Elizabeth exhibit? I kind of want to go see this thing. I think that would be really, really cool. Max, are you down to go? You want to take a road trip?
I would love to go. I think this is amazing. I think it probably honors her the way she deserves. Mm-hmm. However, at the same time, I'm a little bit upset. The person responsible for her passing is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and yet Miss Elizabeth herself, who arguably had a bigger impact on the world of pro wrestling, still not in the WWE Hall of Fame. This is a travesty, and it needs to be corrected.
I agree. I think Elizabeth should be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. J-Bone, you down for a road trip, man?
Dude, I'd love to go see that. I grew up watching Miss Elizabeth when she came into the spotlight alongside the first, we'll say the first Mania years of the WWF, the mid '80s, when she was alongside the Macho Man, and then I think her popularity skyrocketed when she was even on the arm of the Hulkster, because I think she was kind of cutting loose a little bit. She was getting out of her shell. She was, she wasn't, she was so timid at first, and then I'm just talking about how she evolved as a.
But you have to remember how Randy treated her and how he pretty much. He didn't really, I don't want to say protected her. I say really just kept her in her shell.
Yeah. Totally.
She wasn't able to be the person that she was when she was with Randy. And I'm not saying that to diss Randy at all. Rest in peace, Randy Savage. I love you. One of my all-time favorites.
He did it out of love.
It was all out of love. It was all out of love, and he loved, dude. You talk about somebody who absolutely loved another person, another human being. You look at the relationship between Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth, and that just shows real love. He was really protective of her.
Yeah, he was.
Protective of her. And, I'm down to go on a road trip. I want to go see this thing. I think it would be really, really cool. Let's move on to some AEW news, and let's go from the desk of Max Magus. Gabe Kidd is done with the trolls, and he's not holding back when it comes to the hate aimed at Mercedes Moné. Now, Gabe Kidd, I can't even pronounce his fucking name because I don't know who he is, but he's a New Japan Pro Wrestling star. And he dropped a fiery video on social media letting everyone know that he's had enough of the constant backlash he receives when collaborating with AEW CEO. So Kid says it's gotten so bad that he's refusing to do another joint post with Monet altogether. And I quote, Max, PSA, now listen, I'm never going to collaborate on a post with Mercedes Monet again because all these men flood my notifications saying Mercedes isn't a draw. Mercedes isn't as good as she thinks. Shut your ass clap mouth. You men are losers. End quote. He didn't stop there, though. Kid went in on critics who spent their time dragging Monet online instead of doing anything productive with their lives. And again, I quote, listen, you do nothing with your lives and you hop on Instagram to talk shit about another person. I don't care what Mercedes or AEW about Mercedes or AEW, but you all are biggest losers. Shut your fucking mouths and get off my notifications. End quote. Now, while Mercedes Monet has been hailed one of AEW's biggest gets since leaving WWE in 2022, she's also drawn plenty of criticism from fans who argue she's not a draw or has fallen off. Kid clearly doesn't share that view, and he's had it with the online hate crowd. Monet's fans continue to rally behind her, and now Gabe Kidd has joined that fight against the nonstop negativity. One thing's for sure, though, Max. If you're hating in Gabe Kidd's comments, he's just not going to ignore it. He's coming for you. And, Max, I know how much you love the one that shall not be named, but does Gabe Kidd coming to her defense surprise you?
Who? I have no idea who this guy is.
I don't know who the fuck this guy. New Japan. I don't know.
Does he? Did he show up in AEW and maybe have a little crush on the former Sasha Banks?
Maybe, but here it is. This is a guy that wrestles for a company that we never see on fucking TV. Max, go.
All right. Have I been overly critical about people in the business in the past? Maybe. Have I been overly critical about Tony Khan? No. I don't think so. Have I been overly critical about She Who Must Not Be Named? No, I don't think so. Listen, she was the weak link in the four horsewomen in the WWE. Everybody knows it. Some of you are just in denial of it. But here's the thing, okay? I have been doing this for a lot of years. I am not some loser with nothing more productive to do. So, Mr. Kid, whoever the hell you are,
sorry.
If you're wanting to come for me at Max Magus, you can find me on Twitter. I'm available to have a conversation anytime you like, but I am allowed to have my opinion. It's a well-formed opinion over 20 plus years of doing wrestling-related stuff, from ring setup to concessions to managing to training. I've had matches. I've booked. I know a thing or two about the business, and this isn't just coming from some I'm a loser guy on the internet and she won't date me, so maybe that's how you feel, but some of us actually have opinions that we have earned over the course of our lives. 20 plus years has given me the right to say that She Who Must Not Be Named is not as good as Tony Khan is pushing her and presenting her as. She does not deserve
6 belts or whatever.
However many belts she's got, she doesn't deserve that many. And you know what? I don't think that I would be having this rant if she only had 1 belt, because I wouldn't really care. But the fact that she is up to 4 undeserved belts, or 5 or 12 or whatever Tony Khan plans to put on her, is ridiculous. She has not earned them, in my opinion. She's got brand recognition, but if you pay attention when she comes out to the ring, thankfully we don't have to worry about that at Dynasty, I hope. But if you pay attention when she comes out to the ring, the crowd isn't cheering or booing much for her. They're kind of over it. They don't care. This is what happens when you push somebody too hard. So, Gabe Kid, my name is Max Magus. I spent 20 plus years doing indie wrestling shows. I have spent several years doing this show, whether it was rambling about wrestling, Ramblers Unleashed, being part of Smash This podcast occasionally. I've been on Destroying Kayfabe. I've done several other shows all about wrestling. I have earned the right to my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, feel free to reach out. We can have a chat about it.
You know, I was just looking this up. and I was kind of wondering who trained her. And Todd Smith, now known as Ivar in the WWE, trained her, as well as Brian Fury. And those are pretty big names, man. I mean, you have to wonder if those trainers are looking at what she's doing in AEW and just kind of like, what the fuck is going on?
Look, I think I don't know like why she has all the belts. I mean, yeah, she is a name, and maybe how she's being booked doesn't equal to, you know, how she's being presented with all the belts. You know, there's got to be some kind of even flow to all this, you know. So you know, that's probably an issue, and maybe if I watched AEW more, maybe I'd understand a little bit more what they're doing. So I'll take the blame for that as well. But I think like I saw some of her latest matches, and I thought they were good matches. Maybe not the greatest of all time, but I thought they were decent. So look, it's wrestling is subjective. She's here. It's either here nor there. As far as, you know, you can agree to disagree, whatever, and that's fine. But just the fact that Gabe Kidd is like coming to her rescue, I think is kind of like, oh, what's she got over there? What's she doing?
I think it's comical. I think it's really comical that Gabe is coming to Mercedes' defense. I wonder if he's even ever watched a match of hers. She's not good. She's not good. And you can go ahead and target me if you want to, Gabe, at the Ramblers Pod. Target me. We can argue about it too. She's not freaking good. And the fact that she has 4 belts on her, who else in this industry has 4 fucking titles on their body, on their person? No, I don't know of anybody else.
Well, you can't see them, but John Cena had 16 total over a certain amount of time. He's about to get 17.
I'm talking physical. I'm talking physical titles. Have you seen her?
I know.
She walks backstage. No, she walks backstage and she looks like a fucking concession stand.
There's only one wrestler that deserves all the gold at one time, and I sent the picture to Messenger of who that person is.
All right, let me open it up. Because this is oh my god, who is that?
That is the one and only Ultimo Dragon.
Let me zoom in because the picture's kind of small, but let me share. Oh my god, look at this. This is insane. And titles. I'll give you that. I will give you that. He is deserving. He's worthy of it. All right. I'll totally give you that.
And I'll throw in
because he's good.
I think an honorable mention would be someone that he's kind of fallen off the face of wrestling. I don't think he's been around much a lot. I think he's been kind of taking care of himself and doing his own thing, you know, after the pandemic. But there was a time when one of Milwaukee's finest, Mr. Austin Aries, had a lot, and I mean a lot of championships.
Yeah.
And he was there was a time being where he was my favorite. I still like him, you know. I still hope he's doing well, but you know.
And real quick, Terrence, I just want to say that I don't see a lot of Okada, so I don't really have an opinion on him. What I have seen, he's better than She Who Shall Not Be Named.
No,
so,
no.
I'm not saying he's the GOAT. I'm not saying he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I'll reserve that title for Ultimo Dragon and Penta. However, Okada is definitely better in the ring than She Who Shall Not Be Named.
Yeah.
Okada's response to all the haters out there would be one word: bitch.
Let's move on.
I love this gimmick. It's so simple. It's so stupid. I love it.
Yeah. Let's move on because we also have to talk about MJF, and he had something to say after WWE once again referred to All Elite Wrestling during last night's edition of Monday Night Raw. The show featured another intense back and forth between John Cena and Cody Rhodes to build up their WrestleMania 41 clash. Now, during the segment, Cody didn't hold back, saying, "I got booed in the company I created," clearly referencing his AEW past. That line was one of several nods to his former promotion, and fans on social media quickly lit up with reactions, sharing some praising it, others calling it unnecessary. One of those reactions was from MJF. Never one to stay quiet when wrestlers' discourse takes over. He jumped on X shortly after the show ended and gave his take. And I quote, "I truly don't get why fans get up in arms when WWE mentions or references AEW, or when AEW mentions or references WWE. If you want to be treated like children, watch Elmo. Or better yet, tell VKM to start a new promotion," of course, referring to McMahon. Whether it's seen as a cross promotion, which it's not, or just throwing verbal jabs, MJF's point is pretty clear. He says fans need to stop being overly sensitive about it. Now, I personally have never been a fan of the name dropping, with other rival promotions. We pretty much all know the story of these wrestlers. Why do we need to bring up the fact that, oh, Cody was in WWE, then he started in AEW, and now he's back in WWE? It's hard to watch AEW programming every single time that they do a name drop of WWE. WCW did it, and I hated that Eric Bischoff did what he did when he gave away the match between, I think it was Mankind and The Rock or whoever.
But he also underestimated how good that match was, even though he watched it supposedly. Yeah. So he decided, you know what, I don't have to compete. I can just go out and have them do something stupid. And that's the story of how we got the finger poke of doom.
Yeah, it is. I just don't find it necessary to do that, though, man. I even though all this doubles back to the promo that we saw in London between Cena and Cody, which was absolutely stellar. Absolutely stellar.
I think it's the best so far between them.
I think it is too, honestly.
It is, because I totally, Dizzy, don't get me wrong, I totally get your point of view on this, but I'm going to see if I can slightly change your mind on this.
Yeah.
The reason why the past was mentioned is because number one, this rivalry is so unique because of, number one, who it is, John Cena becoming a heel. And we're all just like sitting on the edge of our seats, like, what is he going to do next? It's so simple when he's doing it, and it's mildly predictable, but it just reminds us how damn good he is.
No, I know. I know.
No, I want to just give me a second. Yeah. So that being said, when these two are going back and forth, and Cody asks John Cena why, he was talking about Cody and him riding together in the past. Cody was coming up. John Cena was like larger than life. And then Cody went away and then came back. So part of the why of why John Cena's going after Cody, if you go back and listen to the promo, it's based in reality of what Cody actually did with his life in his career, the time while he was gone, and then came back and so insulted him in the process of doing that. So I get why you say, why did they have to do that? But like I said, this is based in reality, and we had to learn the reason why John Cena is doing this to Cody, which is it's eye-opening.
I understand the story. I mean, I understand that. I'm just saying that I've never been a fan of, and though they didn't directly name call,
right?
They didn't directly call out the company,
right?
They didn't directly call out Vince either, but they called him out.
Oh yeah,
big time.
Oh, they did.
I just never been one to, I don't know, I've never been a fan of it. Just focus on your own shit.
No, in general, no, I totally agree. Like, I didn't like it when TNA did stupid shit about WWF when they were like really trying to go, like in the Hogan era when they were really trying to go head to head with them. Yeah, I didn't like that either. Yeah,
or ECW. When they were going against WWF, it's just stick to your own fucking brand, and figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, okay? I feel like while they shouldn't do it all the time, I feel like occasionally not too big of a deal because you're acknowledging, yes, there is competition out there.
Mm-hmm.
There is another company. It's not burying your head in the sand and pretending that there is not another company out there. And while TNA at the time was not technically performing at equal levels to WWE, Vince not even acknowledging TNA and calling literally everything else on TV WWE's competition, but not TNA, I thought that was wrong. And that I think to constantly bring them up is just wrong, unless you're working some kind of deal with the company. But if every once in a while you reference them, you're acknowledging that, yes, we know you exist. We see you out there. Don't you worry. We're not ignoring you. We're just trying to do our thing.
Right.
And I want to say something to the people out there, the haters that have been complaining about the buildup for this match. You need to sit back and enjoy it. You've gotten too tuned in on the Vince McMahon era of pro wrestling where he couldn't hold a secret back for 3 weeks. He couldn't slow build anything because he had to hit you hard with it right away. This buildup for John Cena and Cody Rhodes has been absolutely brilliant. They started it off slow. John Cena came out, said his piece. Cody came out, responded, and Cena's like, screw it, I'm gone. Then the second week, same thing. Cena says his piece. Cody comes out, says his piece. Cena's like, screw it, I'm out. And then this week, John Cena comes out, but Cody interrupts him and says his piece first. And then we finally see Cena respond to what Cody says. This build is perfect. It is brilliant for the story that they are telling. Please, for the love of God, shut up and enjoy the story.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Another story in AEW is that, we're always talking about injuries, and they always are a risk in the wonderful world of professional wrestling. And AEW has dealt with its fair share over the years. Unfortunately, it appears that another AEW star may be dealing with a knee injury that could keep him sidelined. So while speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Uncle Dave mentioned that he received a photo of Brian Cage holding his knee. Cage was supposed to wrestle at the Chris Bay tribute show last weekend, but was also scheduled for a match at AEW Dynasty pay-per-view coming up that we're going to predict here in just a moment. There are still signs that Cage might be dealing with an injury. He was originally set to face Rich Swann at the tribute show, but he missed the event. He was also expected to team up against with Lance Archer against the Hurt Business at Dynasty, but the match lineup changed with Big Bill and Brian Keith replacing them. So Brian Cage last wrestled on March 20th at an independent event. While nothing confirmed, Cage's absence most definitely makes his fans wonder about his current status. So he's just nursing a knee injury. He should be back pretty soon. But this is interesting. Let's move to some TNA news before we predict.
I just got a few words for Brian Cage.
Yeah.
Stop working indies and hurting yourself.
No kidding.
I'm just saying. He's been doing this for years. Stop.
Let's move to some TNA news. And this is weird. This is kind of an odd story because they kind of blindsided their own success story. So according to Fightful Select, several sources within TNA says the company has doubled TNA plus subscribers over the years, thanks in large part to very marketing teams that were just fired. Yeah, you heard that right. The people responsible for growing the brand's digital footprint, selling out live events, and landing major sponsors just got kicked to the curb. Now, I'm going to pronounce these names. I'm probably going to butcher them, and if I butcher them, please forgive me. But this week's cuts include Rami Glazer, Rob Klingman, Michael Shuchenko, Sebastian Destrange, and Ariel Scherner. Names that weren't just behind the curtain, but driving a real change. Now, all of these names that I just mentioned did awesome things for TNA. Now, Michael Shuchenko isn't out yet. He's still with Anthem until the end of this month. But this team sold out 7 TNA Plus events last year, grew the digital buys, and helped to get noticed on social media, including a post that racked up 2.1 million views on Instagram. So, J-Bone, do you think this was a cost-cutting thing? Was it politics? Something else? I mean, all in all, it's kind of a gamble.
I know there's so many different opinions about what's going on with TNA right now. And right now, the company, for those of you that may not know, TNA is in a growth spurt, which it may seem hard to realize that when you hear about certain names leaving the company, including Gail Kim.
Yep.
And I don't think we still know the full story behind that, but and I've heard a couple stories out there. I don't know if I believe them, but whatever. I'm not going to get into that on here. It's just not the time or place for it, really. Sure. Look, I said this to I said this in the chat when I was under the weather last week for when Bill was doing TNI when I couldn't make the show. My opinion, and it's kind of just a general blanket one. This is speculation, but I think that this goes for like any company. I think as a company grows, some people's positions start to outgrow the individual. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see where you're going.
Like what they're trying to do for whatever position, whether it be production, behind the scenes relationship with people, sometimes certain positions get bigger than the person can handle, and you need to bring in a new team of leaders that can keep that position alive, keep the relationships with the wrestlers going, keep the production up to par to where the company should be at this time and what the owners want to see it as. And then, we go from there. It's like this company is doing great things. And I think it's time for certain people that were with the company for so long throughout X amount of years doing their stuff could do only so much that they could do. Now you turn it over to someone. We'll say for production, for the example, someone that has a production experience that can handle these bigger places. I got to figure that's going to need more responsibility. Someone that's going to help the team, making sure they're getting the stage set up. Like, look at these stages at TNA now. TNA has never had these biggest stages. And when they did, it was over 10 years ago. It's ridiculous what these are looking like now. They're awesome. They're larger than life in these venues. It's so great to see. So you got that. You got new sponsorships. You got new marketing. You got all these things going on. You got new merch. They're trying to, get that back up to par. And the site's looking good. You got all these things happening and all these different moving parts. And sometimes you just got to refresh the company and bring in new people to help get to that next level. And I think that's the case here. I may not know everything, obviously. I don't have to know everything. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan. I love what I'm seeing on TV for TNA. I am not personally worried. Like some people like to, we're worried. We're all these names and Gail Kim and blah, 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 blah. And oh my God, TNA is dead. No, they're growing. Have you paid attention? They're playing the biggest venues they've played in over 10 years. They're selling them out. There's thousands in attendance. It may not be tens of thousands, but man, I think about what I used to go see in Chicago, and that was like 1,000 people max. Not you, Max. and now they're tripling that. They're quadrupling that. It's so good to see. You need the people that can take care of everything to get at that point. As it grows, you gotta have the skills to match it.
Respectfully, I'm going to disagree with something you said.
Okay.
I think that if you have exceeded expectations on the job you were hired to do, that should give you a promotion of some sort, not being fired.
Yeah.
And the fact that they doubled subscriptions in the time that they were there, it just feels wrong to me that they lost their jobs after exceeding expectations and doubling the subscriptions. But that's my opinion.
Well, yeah, and that's why I said I don't know everything that's going on. You know, that's obviously a case in part of what I was talking about that I don't get why it happened. You know, like that doesn't make sense. But obviously there was something behind the scenes, whether it was egos clashing or difference in goals. You know, who knows what it was.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about 7 TNA Plus events last year. They grew the digital buys and racking up 2.1 million views on Instagram. Max, right? If you are helping the company to succeed in something, that should in turn give you, even though the company is growing, that should give you a steady job, a stable job, a secure job in any Fed or any work or whatever you do, you know. And I just don't understand this. It was a huge gamble and I'm not talking about Mira, I'm not talking about Gail Kim. I don't know what happened with her, but I'm talking about these behind the scenes folks that help the company grow. And Gail did her fair share of helping the company grow too, but it's a gamble. I mean, where are you going to find people like this again? I mean, it's people like the folks that were just let go. It's hard to find people like that actually give a damn about a product or a company or their job that want to help places grow like that.
And just out of curiosity, wasn't Gail Kim's most recent return to TNA for her to give her opinion? My understanding was she was brought back to have something to do to help the knockout division backstage. So to me, it seems like her entire job at this point is to give her opinion because it's an expert opinion that you're trusting.
You know, and that's what happened right before it was a new president was brought in, and maybe this president came in, looked at what everyone was doing backstage, looked at her, and thought maybe what she was actually doing backstage wasn't worth, you know, maybe that's part of it, you know, because a new president obviously is going to have a different point of view than someone that's been there for a while and just kind of like maybe putting up with something or just dealing with a situation. The new president is going to come in and be like, you know, something ain't right here. I think something needs to change. That's why you bring in a new president to be like, okay, let's check this out over here. Let's change this over here. This needs a whole new face. This, you know, that's what they're doing. So,
yeah, it's just really surprising how all these guys were let go. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got confidence in the company though, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
we'll just have to see. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. We all know the Dynasty, AEW Dynasty is this Sunday. So let's go ahead and do our predictions for Dynasty, since we all know that AEW goes really, really late, and we probably will not be on the air here to review the show, but we can certainly give you our predictions, and they're going to be at the they're going to be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the first pay-per-view event to be held in Pennsylvania. So let's go ahead and do our predictions, and we'll start things off with J-Bone. And let's go with Kenny Omega, who's the champion, versus Ricochet versus Speedball Mike Bailey. It's a three-way match for the AEW International Championship. J-Bone, who do you got?
Ooh, I'm going to go a little edgy here.
Boy.
And I don't mean the Adam Copeland because he's not part of this. I'm going to go with Ricochet.
Oh, okay.
I love Kenny Omega, and I think Speedball looks great in a new company. I'm really happy for him. I'm excited to see what he all does on this new stage. But I like what Ricochet's doing. I like his charisma. I like his attitude. And, man, I want to see this get down and dirty and have him take that title from Kenny Omega. I think that could be a fresh start for that belt in this company.
Okay. How about Jon Moxley, who's the current champion, versus Swerve Strickland in a singles match for the AEW World Championship?
Oh, man. I love Mox. I'm always going to love Mox, but I do really like what Swerve has become in this company, and he's become kind of like a positive representation of this company, I mean, how he represents himself, how he represents the company in these, what do you call them, the media scrums.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a whole vision for taking this company to the next level. He wants to be part of that. And now, granted, Mox might be too, but I feel like putting Swerve in that position again as a two-time champ is moving the right direction.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Timeless Tony Storm, the current champion, versus Megan Bayne. Singles match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Who do you got?
Oh, jeez. By the way, if you guys have not seen Tony Storm's promos leading up to this, just take 5 minutes out of your day and go find them on Twitter or YouTube or whatever. They are hilarious. They are edgy. They are erotic. They're just a handful of, oh my God, this chick is too much. I love what Tony Storm's doing, but man, I'd love to see a new face get a new title here. I think Megan Bayne is the future of this division.
Well, I agree. That's going to be one of my matches of the night, I think.
Just Tony Storm. When she first got attacked by her, she grabs a mic. She looks out of the ring at Megan Bayne, and she says, "Ma, you're a huge bitch." Just that right there. I was like, "Oh, that's priceless."
How about the Death Riders versus Rated FTR, a trios match for the AEW World Trios Championship?
Oh, Death Riders are keeping that one. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. They're still a force to be reckoned with. FTR is falling apart from what I hear, and Edge is Edge.
Now, next up is a title versus mask match for the ROH World Championship between Chris Jericho, who's got the title, and Bandito, who is currently masked. J-Bone, who do you got?
Oh, that's got to change hands. Mm-hmm. There's no way Bandito's going to lose his match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing for, two to be going back and forth. Jericho beats him up, steals his mask, takes off. That's one thing. But there's no way that, Bandito's got a legacy to uphold. He's going to get that title. He's going to keep his mask. He's beating Jericho.
How about Daniel Garcia, who's the current TNT champion? He's taking on Adam Cole. for the championship?
Oh, that's tough. I haven't seen either in a while. And it's good to see Daniel Garcia as champ. It makes me kind of kick myself because he was definitely one of the more exciting ones to watch as far as, pardon the term, but, the young bucks coming up in the company. Maybe, I don't, I'll just pick Daniel Garcia because I don't know what's going on there.
Okay. That's all the matches. I mean, obviously, probably we're going to have like a stacked 0 hour, but for the main card, that is all the matches, surprisingly, because they usually pack it for the main card. Let's see what Max thinks. We'll start with Kenny Omega, the current champion, versus Ricochet versus Mike Bailey, Speedball Mike Bailey, in a 3-way match for the AEW International Championship. Max, who's your pick?
First off, let me just say, I think that the Death Riders booking is not going the right direction if you're putting Edge and FTR against the Death Riders. What you should have done was you should have faked this all out and had Edge and FTR join the Death Riders, because what do they have in common with the Death Riders besides Wheeler? They're all ex-WWE. And that would have really hooked this story a little better.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I bring that up is because one of the main people who should be trying to stop the Death Riders is in this match. He's facing off with Ricochet and Speedball for the international title. Why? This guy is supposed to be like the top guy in your company, and he's not trying to stop the Death Riders? Are you kidding me? That being said, this would be a perfect way to turn him into a story with the Death Riders, but they have to come out and make sure he loses the title. I don't see Tony Khan doing that, so I'm saying Omega retains.
Okay.
So you're saying Kenny Omega should be one to try to take the title off of Mox in the long run?
I think that as one of the AEW originals, he is the guy that should be standing up to the Death Riders, and yes, he should, either him, someone like Hangman, or the Bucks should be the ones that are taking the title off of Moxley.
I think long-term storytelling, that absolutely could happen.
Now, I will be honest, they did an excellent job with one long-time story in AEW, and that was the transformation of Hangman Page right before he won the title. They built that up over, a year, 2 years, something like that? So, but yeah, I that's the only way I see that title changing hands.
Yeah. How about, Moxley versus Swerve Strickland in a singles match for the AEW World Championship? You kind of put your finger on that, right?
Right. Again, I see Moxley retaining this. I don't see him dropping it to anybody except someone that started AEW.
Right. Timeless Tony Storm versus Megan Bayne for the singles champion, or the singles match for the AEW World's Women Championship. Max, who do you got?
I love Tony Storm being the champ, and I do see her dropping it, but I just don't see it being this match. I think Tony retains.
Yeah. Death Riders versus Rated FTR, trios match for the Trios World Championship.
I think Death Riders retain in this. I just think that's where we're headed on this one.
Chris Jericho versus Bandito in a title versus mask match for the ROH World Championship.
Who was it that unmasked Rey Mysterio in WCW?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
It was Nash, wasn't it?
Was it Nash? I don't know.
Nash beat Mysterio, and then Mysterio went on to form
LWO, right?
No, it was he was with Conan and
yeah. That little, I forgot that faction name. Anyway,
Pitbulls.
Either way, listen, if it had been Y2J, I'd think, all right, maybe. But I'm gonna say that Bandito retains his mask and takes the title off of Jericho.
Okay. Yeah. Daniel Garcia, the current champion, the TNT champion, versus Adam Cole. Max, what do you got?
Bay. I'm going Adam Cole. I really think Cole is going to win this title.
All right. And for me, Kenny Omega versus Ricochet and Mike Bailey. Honestly, I don't want to see Ricochet get it, so I would rather either see Kenny Omega retain or maybe Speedball Mike Bailey. But I don't think Mike Bailey is going to get it because he's just too new. I'm thinking Kenny Omega is going to retain. John Moxley versus Swerve Strickland in a singles match for the AEW World Championship. I really hope it changes hands, but I think that Moxley is going to have the Death Riders come out and try to interfere somehow. So I'm just going to go with Moxley. Timeless Tony Storm versus Megan Bayne singles match for the AEW Women's Championship. Will Tony, I don't know, man. Will Tony drop it to Megan Bayne? I don't think she will. I really don't. I think Tony is going to retain that title. So I'm going to go with Timeless Tony Storm on that one. The Death Riders versus Rated FTR for the Trios match for the AEW World Trios Championship. Now, if you've been watching AEW, you know that there's a bit of an issue between Cash Wheeler, Cash, whatever the fuck his name is, and
Cash.
And yeah, there's a animosity between those two. Who's going to turn? I think somebody's going to turn. I think Dax might turn on Cash. And
does he join Mox's crew?
I don't think he's going to join Mox's crew. I just think that Dax and Cash are done. And I think that there's going to be a spot in that match where it doesn't go smooth, which if you watched the last match that they had on Collision, holy fuck, it was terrible. But I really think the Death Riders are gonna win. I'm thinking that they're gonna.
I gotta look. The Collision was just in Milwaukee. I think that was a Milwaukee episode.
Probably so.
I gotta watch that.
Chris Jericho versus Bandito, title versus mask match for the ROH World Championship. I don't see Bandito getting unmasked, so I think Bandito will win the ROH World Championship. And finally, Daniel Garcia versus Adam Cole singles match for the AEW TNT Championship. Could Adam Cole win? Yeah, I really do think so. I think Daniel Garcia, because he really hasn't done anything with the fucking title anyway, as far as I've seen. So I'm going to go with Adam Cole because I like Adam Cole. There you go. That's our predictions for AEW Dynasty this coming Sunday on pay-per-view. We will not be here to review the show.
I would like to say something shocking real quick. Thank you, Tony Khan, for not subjecting us to a match involving She Who Must Not Be Named.
Yeah.
Oh, just wait.
Oh, please. I hope you didn't jinx it for us, man. Oh, my God. All right. That's going to wrap it up for the show. J-Bone, how can they follow you, sir, on the socials?
You can find me on the old Twitter box at a JBone5150. That's a JAYBONE 5150. You can also see me every Thursday over on that other little podcast called Total Nonstop Impact, where we cover everything TNA.
There you go. And Max Magus, how can they follow you, sir?
You can find me at Max Magus, or if you want a slightly more nerdy fare, go find our shots at Our Shots Podcast, or listen to Random Shots any place where you catch podcasts, or check out our website, random-shots.net. That's for nerdy stuff.
And you can follow the show, our show, at The Ramblers Pod. You can find us on Facebook at Ramblers Unleashed. And make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button that tells others here on YouTube that you like what we're doing and suggests our video and our channel to more people. And we absolutely love you. Thank you for tuning in on a Tuesday night, and enjoy professional wrestling. For what
don't forget to follow the Baron at Scumbag Jordan with 3 N's.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And until next time, enjoy professional wrestling, and we will talk to you. See ya.
Thanks
Get off
for
my
tuning
lawn.
in to Ramblers Unleashed. Follow the show on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the bell icon for notifications of upcoming episodes.